How do you guys do? It is your boy Izzo33. We are going into day number fucking 5 of the bracket stage. I've sworn already. This is always a good sign. Well, we've got a best of 5 on our hands between the LCK greats as GenG take on T1. Well, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. This series, we're only gonna be covering 3 games. We've got 5 games in total. We're gonna do 3 because G2 and Mad face off against one another literally straight after this, and it's actually happening right now. I have the broadcast on silent and I'm not watching it, don't worry. Anyway, game 1 I have not watched yet. I kind of left this one up for basically this series. I've seen parts of game 2, not all of it. Game 3 I saw. So what we're going to do is cover game 1, cover game 3, and cover game 5. Game 5 will obviously be... Actually, no, we're going to cover game 1 and game 5. And then game 3, we're going to look at statistically, because it was insane how it happened. In fact, we'll only watch one fight. It has to be the last fight of the game. But anyway, this game so far, looking at draft coming through, Lucian, Nautilus, Lulu, banned out by GenG, Cassante, Maokai, Vi. The bruisers, the big bruiser frontliners that we've seen throughout this tournament are getting banned out by T1. That is a big thing because they're on red side. And you have to realize, obviously, the flexibility of them two is huge. Now, I presume because GenG is the highest seed, they get side select for this series kickoff. And the fact that T1 are on red side means that the draft should shape out with GenG getting some power picks. Now, surprisingly, we're seeing the meta reads from these two teams. No priority bans onto the Annie or the Kennen. And in fact, it's going to be first pick Sion for T1, getting Zeus on a bulky frontliner. And it has kind of been how they've played throughout this tournament. He's played his Gragas, he's played Cassante in some regards. He's played frontline, all best of 5s. Now, here, the rest of the drafts are shaping up kind of standard. Aphelios Jinx as the bot laners is something we've seen quite a lot. And on the other side of things, the fact that we're seeing Wukong come through for Peanut means that we're probably going to get paired with the Ahri, something like a bruisery top side, just so that you can engage well with that pick, because these ban phases should see supports getting removed from the pool. Like, obviously, Carrier can play Annie right now, but engage should be is a big option for both teams. I think we may see a Rakan ban coming out from GenG just to round it out, because they know T1 probably will preface it to kind of lock up some of these players on GenG. Now, Thresh actually fairly... Yeah, that actually makes more sense than what I'm going for in my head, but because Thresh obviously provides safety needed, and GenG probably would have picked it if it could have been given over to them, but I highly doubt T1 would let that through to them. But Poppy is what T1 go for, and this top-sided map just seems very hard to kill. So much bruisery frontline, and a lot of, in some regards, damage reduction against a GenG squad that is stacking damage. So, basically, T1's draft so wide open with what they can do. They can frontline all the big damage that GenG have stacked for themselves, and what we are seeing is a support less pick for GenG. And Rakan would be what I would be looking at here for GenG. Lulu got banned out. Yeah, Thresh as well, so Rakan is kind of the next of the big 3 at this tournament. And as for T1, locking in the Kench. He has been unbenched in this game. It's just so much frontline for T1. And surprisingly, TK can be flexed over to the top side. And somehow, because it's carrier, Sion can be flexed down there. It's still flexibility on this T1 side. And, you know, I like it as a whole for this draft. But what we have to realize is T1 is a two-pronged damage attacking team. You've got Annie, you've got the Jinx. If you focus out one of these damages dealers, you can then stack up resistance to the other. You just need to burst out the right target. And with the fact that you've got a lot of dive on this GenG side, you're going to try to get through the rest of... basically to avoid the rest of this T1 frontline. Now, what I will also preface is that steadfast presence from the Poppy is going to negate quite a few spells. The Annie ultimate, Ari ultimate, sorry. The Rakan W forward. You're also going to negate the Wukong W when he places a clone, as well as the skip and slash from the Gwen. I know that ultimate, that ability name. So there you go. Onto the Rift we go. Looking at items, and I'm not going to get to look at the items for that long, because, you know, just gonna throw up the featured matchup. Graphic. There we go. Cool start for T1. Gumayusi looking to scale up, get an early advantage. In the bot lane, probably the most smart start for him. I'm also surprised Euphelios didn't get one. But it is going to be a Dora's lane. And so, the Ruins, yeah. Phase Rush Sion. Or Ares Sion. It actually looks like Phase Rush, never mind. Does surprise me a little bit, because some regards that spell can do a lot in terms of closing the gap, but that was very greedy from T1. Flash is down on T1 side, and look at what they're doing. Just using the extra pressure of the third man there gets T1 later onto the wave. But, oh no. It's a Sion. I understand this now, why Doran's down here. Because Sion doing Sion things in the jungle level 1 just allows owner to free clear these camps. I'm surprised that we haven't seen a cross map from Peanut to go for the top side camps, but here's the dive. They're gonna get first blood GenG, but it's still a trade kill. Make that 2 trade kills. T1 are gonna keep Gumayusi alive in this bot lane, but the big thing is Doran's still here. He's able to hold this wave and benefits in some regards. But XP was split. You have to realize it's so weird, this level 1 start in some regards from GenG, because you could have allowed Doran to get himself ahead, get level 2, level 3, and not be full victim to the A play. In fact, he could have TP'd down there to even it out. That would have been, in my opinion, the better option. But yeah, you would technically be giving up pressure top in some regards, if you think about how it works. So essentially, if you see the TP come out from door and you TP back up topside and you kind of negate the push that the top laner gets, and then you have to go roam back up there. I would have honestly preferred that from GenG as the immediate Bissell dive forward. No, what we're seeing early is a very aggressive start to the game, and Cole's finally picked up for Jinx. I like that she's getting it at least into women. Or, sorry, not Jinx, Aphelios. I like that he's got that for himself. It does technically mean that he's going to be able to match the scaling, and I'm not... Considering the fact Doran was down there, I'm pretty sure GenG expected that start, so it kind of makes sense why the cull was delayed a little bit, because you got the extra damage out with the Doran's Blade, so that start makes a bit more sense here from Pays. But what we are seeing though is there's a 20 CS difference in the culls, so Gumayushi is going to be hitting his power spike a little earlier than what Pays will do. And so, here we go. Bissell dive forward yet again, and once again, Owner's behind him. Steadfast presence onto the Aphelios means he's just not able to run away. It's a clean play as a whole from the T1 jungler, who's just been camping in this bot side. Tibbers, drop mid. Just going to use Tibbers to zone Chovy off wave. Now, because Annie is secure and push, I'm going to use Tibbers to gain vision. That's clever. Now, what we could genuinely see is T1. Now that they've secured push in mid, roam down into the jungle for Drake. A very early Drake, 6 minutes on the clock. Definitely looks like the plan, but I think Delight realizes that with how Faker is playing lane, the fact that he dropped Tibbers in his face just means he wants to secure push for a play. Good dodge on the charm. And there you go. Drake started. Herald's up in a minute, so I dare say we could see Keria make a roam up there alongside Owner. Furthermore, just with how Zeus is playing right now, securing some vision into the river with his pathing, he's just going to look to get a ward down. It means that essentially T1 get a lot of knowledge with the fact that they'll be able to know if Peanut walks into the river, and actually they're just going to benefit quite a lot off this, because bags are going to come through. Mid lane's just took a reset. Owner is taking a reset, going to buy up his boot, so he's going to be out to lane a lot quicker than what the Wukong will. Plus, with if Wukong gets spotted here, we definitely can see Owner immediately pathing over to the Herald. But he's going to get his reset through. Gwen spotted out, just starting up the Herald for her team. That's so nice. Which is quite surprising that this is happening, because T1 are in the area and they've spotted out. Oh, this is going to be a fight. Annie's here. Tibbers just going to get bopped down. Gwen is going to take a lot of damage and is just dead. That just seems so nuts. In terms of the positioning coming out from Doran as a whole, he started off the Herald And he should have known that T1 were on resets up to top. But way too greedy. He's also got a cull. Huh. I don't know how I feel about Gwen Cull. Like, and Darkseal. So, like, you're sending out mixed messages in my head. Like, you're sending out the message, I want to farm. And just do work against a Scion who, let's be honest, won't be as threatening in terms of a farm lane. Because they'll just be trading CS. Because Scion realistically cannot trade into a Gwen. But the Darkseal buy, I mean, it spells teamfight for later into the game and possibly some investation from GenG up top. But, like, I don't know. It's a weird one to me. The buys seem slightly off. So we watch this again. It's just Doran starting up Harold. The Poppycopter knocks the Wukong out, so he's unable to use his ult. Then Doran's just isolating 3 members of T1. It's just an easy, clean kill. Now, T1 have controlled early objectives very effectively in this game. Peanut, I think, is living rent-free on these ramp to camps. Just taking each and every spawn of owners. Chickens, it's very standard. Just gonna steal away nearly the entire camp. Now, I'm intrigued by how Owner plays with Harold, because T1 and GenG both rotated their ADC's top. Does surprise me, obviously. It benefits T1 because somehow Zeus has been able to get a turret plate really low. Owner and Peanut trading. This always favors the Poppy. She's very good into Wukong. And wow, they cracked that last plate and gonna get a second one on top of it. Easy peasy. Gwen. Gonna be using needlework, but she's caught out. She's locked up. That's 2 ults for the price of 1, baby. And burning down to Tibbers is the result of that many ults. Great ult from Jinx to deny basing. Faker. If you can land that Q, the follow-up coming through from Carrier was quite a big possibility there. It's interesting. T1 have played early very well this entire tournament. Like, in every game they played. Mad really weren't able to get much early other than some leads, but they got punished heavily. And I think that's been how the LCK have enjoyed this tournament, is heavy punish on fights. And here, you know, it could honestly be a very interesting part of the game. Okie dokie. Drake is alive. Wukong is down here. So's Poppy. T1 are looking to contest it. 4 members coming through the mid wave. Faker does have a flank. Wait, no, that's Gubayushi on the... No, it is Faker on the flank. That's the Rakanal. But look at the W out from Poppy. Gonna knock Wukong out the fight. The health bars are being taken so low on either side of the rift. Rocket gonna go wide. And somehow Drake does not fall. And yet T1 seed the Drake. 13 minutes into the game, Kulls are finally fully stacked in either ADC's back pocket. You've also got the Kull on top side, Gwen, Doran. 20 stacks remaining till it's complete. What I will say is that could end either very nicely for him or very poorly. As just gonna choke that into there. There we go. Anyway, looking at this fight again, it's just a lot of nothing. Let's be honest, an LCK classic of team fights ending with no one dying. Shock. But sums were burnt. Flashes on Guma and Zeus removed from the field. TP on Chovy just used. And surprisingly, T1, after seeing pressure in the bot lane, going to immediately rush up top for this Herald. Second Herald, probably a mid lane crashing boy, as that's the typical avenue you go with that. As the owner picks that one up. In fact, he might just immediately drop it in top, because mid lane tier 1 has just been cracked open for free pretty easily. No real contest out from GenG on that play. But T1 as a whole really have found a lot of advantages across the map. Poppycopter just going to be whirly-birded to keep Pays away from the tower. Obviously, that gets put on a very short cooldown if you don't let loose with it. And so, T1 immediately look for a play topside. The thing is, whenever you see Poppy, you got to play with some respect, because you clearly know there's other members around her. And there you go. There's the other members. The team coming to get the Herald Gold from Tier 1. To be honest, they really didn't need to drop the Herald there. Gubayushi were just killing the wave without need of that thing. Whirlybird gets launched out, and Tier 2 turret gets chunked very low. But look at how T1 are rotating around the map. Faker pushes in mid. The rest of his team roam from the bot lane tier 2 that they just crashed into to provide some protection to him. On the bottom half of the map, you've got to sign into the Gwen. You don't really care about that. It's going to be very boring. How do you have... Huh? Sorry, I'm looking at something making zero sense to me. But yeah. I just hit the wrong buttons. Anyway, I'm going to hit that button. And there we go. So, essentially, right now, the game is at a state of full control for T1. The gold lead has stayed relatively the same. But, the light? Charm gonna come through. But T1 just gonna continue to surmount pressure. Drake up in 20 seconds. We're definitely... T1 have definitely wanted to take every single Drake, because this top turret's going to fall. Gwen unable to deal with the Scion. Now what I will say is, Gwen has no way to deny a TP out from Scion. So if a play kicks off, Scion can TP in her face, back, or into it. He probably will get chunked quite heavily. But right now, GenG need to find a way. TP going to come through from the Gwen. The Whirly Bird misses. And it's going to be stolen. The Wukong's unable to... Well, Poppy's unable to seal that. But in fact, she's the one that's going to kill off the Wukong. Locking down the Rakan on top of it. And Jinx is excited. Baron not up yet. But look at the way that T1 are moving. They're certainly wanting to get that on spawn. Such a big fight there for T1. That gold lead now continues to get bigger and bigger. Yes, you do give over the Drake, which is unfortunate. But we need to look at this. Bonk. Gwen doesn't get in. The Whirly Bird just gets put to a place that misses. But the damage coming out from the fact that Faker drops Tibbers on Peanut's head just allows for so much damage to be put onto him. Jungler dies, and T1 starting to advance their members into the enemy topside jungle, looking to control the Baron area. Owner gets caught, but Pay's unable to throw out any damage onto him. But the big thing I've noted here is GenG have taken the Scuttle topside, meaning T1 can't really go immediately onto that Baron without some semblance of vision on it. Cyclone comes through from Wukong. Flash comes out from Carrier. Oh god, I didn't realize T1 were Brazilian GenG. Yikes. Anyway, gold standard as a whole for expectations. Mid lane fairly even, to be honest. But we have to look at the item diffs. That's the big thing. I'm just looking at Gumayusi's inventory. And now the Aphelios' IEs on both players. As TP comes through. Choo-choo. Ari, though, is on the wrong side of the map. Going to get knocked up by devastating smash. And Faker, that gold lead that we just saw on him, probably going to look slightly better now.
For T1, 22 minutes, a little bit late for a T1 Baron, but they'll take it as Peanut is still there. They're going to look for a turn as Chovy has teleport available. 10 seconds on him coming back into this fight. T1,
Gwen using needlework, getting forward. Sion getting taken extremely low. Zeus having to run away, but the 3-man whirly bird. Zeus gets the Baron off of it, but GenG looking for a responsive play, going to take this mid lane tier 1. While that is kind of a consolation prize, T1 get everything they want there. A great play by Owner as a whole. Just boop, out the fight you go to the engage, the jungle, and anyone else that wants to be an effective champ for GenG. Wow. This game so far certainly seems like T1 found an early lead and are just rolling with it. GenG are very, and I do mean very, far behind. You've not got the scaling element that T1 do have. Well, they have 200 years. Gwen just gets locked up on the tower. The damage coming out from the rockets is so much. It just shreds through the health bar. T1 grouping up as 5 down here using the Baron. They're using the cannon minion as well. Chovy taking a lot of damage. But that's a rocket belt Annie. Very easy for her to get on top of you with the dash.
Yeah, I haven't really talked about that yet, but it was of course mostly brought of ages when we saw the Annie in playoffs, trying out a different build there, able to more reliably get to some of those backline targets.
T1 though.
With this play, shoving in bot side, getting the teleport from GenG, and then
Playing this game very well. If you think about how they're playing between lanes. The fact that they started top, rotated to mid, then did work there, then managed to get a pick off, and then force Baron. Just, it's so smart. We need to watch the Poppy Copter. Owner's just focusing Baron right now. Here's the Copter. Felios, Rakan, and Wukong. Probably the best 3 champs you can knock away. And with this Baron, T1 have been able to get 2.5k advantage out of it. And so, with Baron off the table now, you have to feel the game's going to slow down till the next Drake fight or next Baron fight. And obviously, that Baron came in very early into the game for T1. Just a lot of stuff done there. Chovy lands a charm. But on the other side of the map, Owner looks to have been caught out. In fact, he's turning it around. TP going to come through from Faker. Here is Doran getting stunned up, dropping Tibbers on his head. Needlework may be thrown out, but it's not enough as a rocket takes it from downtown. Guayushi looking to kill off Pays here, though, as Owner stepping forward. Not going to go under the turret yet, as Tibbers tanking up the aggro. The wave is just being taken apart, and T1 gonna have to back away right now.
Want to highlight there as well, Carrier. Even knowing that Pays has a summoners, the moment he comes up with his dive, ignites the full health of Felix. It's like, get away! This is our turret.
Yep. He knows the target that he needs to be going for as Peanut. Not going to stop any backs with an Ember Strike or anything like that, as we are going to have a full reset here for T1.
T1 getting back to base, buying in quite a bit of items. Faker's almost got his death cap. Where is he on the map? running to mid, so Faker gonna get some CS here. I dare say he's pretty close to that item, as he's allowing the wave to build up in front of him. But 50 seconds on Baron. Some reason T1 immediately is setting up around it. It's certainly not been how they played this entire game, is just rush Baron. Haha. But for real, T1. Oh no. It's just waiting. Onan's just standing around this Baron, waiting for it to respawn. He's not allowing GenG up into the river. This is so funny, because why don't teams do this more often? Just having a guy sit in river like Ona is. I mean, yeah, he's waiting to kill the Scuttle Crab, but like, it's funny.
I'm so jealous you get off. They're like my favorite thing. They're so much fun. Well, it's all about Abyssal Mask Sunfire Cave now. That is what Orcs is on. He can let us all know about it during the Analyst Desk segment after this. But have to see.
I thought Carrier was going to go forward there. Just going to go back to his Jinx. And realistically speaking, Carrier's not had to do too much in terms of protecting Kumayushi this game. It certainly felt like Faker has been looking for picks and setting up his team for these plays alongside Ona. And surprisingly, it's working. It's certainly worked very much for T1, as third Drake for them looks to be what they're going for right now. However, I was expecting GenG to maybe go and rush down Baron. They aren't. And in fact, T1 have got some semblance of control up here with Annie still hovering. Blue and white guns on the Aphelios. Not got too many stacks of the chakrams. So I dare say T1 right now want to force something very aggressive. So I'm stepping forward, which I'm just thinking, press the R button. Press the R button. He is not going to do that though. And so, T1 baiting Baron. The Scryzloom's going to spot, it's not started, but there's T1 walking back onto the Drake. The Baron, Jinx absolutely shredding through its health bar. And GenG aren't going to get in. Peanut is ignited, using the chompers to keep him away. Shirelius may have been popped, but that Baron is down. Owen's going to secure that for T1. And on the bottom half of the fight, Annie is getting caught out by the Ahri. But here is the needles thrown out. Zeus is extremely low. But the Aphelios gets stunned up, bopped by the Jinx. The zaps are just tapping through the health bar. But it's not going to end up with any kills. Oh, God. It's an LCK matchup for sure, as both teams so even. But T1 get the Baron. Now the base in the sights of T1, immediately running it down mid to this inhib. That's certainly going to fall. They're staying around possibly, as Guma just going to clear the wave out. As pings down to the bottom wave are probably the next target for T1. The wave obviously is stacking up. 2 minutes 30 until the next Drake. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to a fight out from both sides. because we haven't seen anything as Smite gets used by Peanut to just remove the Banshee's Veil on the Annie.
Not happening this time around. T1 sticking with what has been working for them in their most recent series.
Scion, the choo-choo train,
The train going to leave the station here as Zeus going for a little bit of a jog.
gets a bit of movement speed buff from Annie.
Towards that top side already. Bit of a back to come through from Doran, but he's going to cancel that. And T1
But T1 look to have caught Doran out. Is going to spot that there's members of T1 in the area, but Oda has gone unspotted. He is here. Smite just to slow him down. Steadfast presence. Gonna deny the skip and slash. Rakan using the quickness, trying to get in on top. Flashing forward, gonna miss out on Aphelios. And Gumyushi is able to stay alive and stay walking forward. The Aphelios, though, chunking through the health bar of Tibbers, but Tibbers is not a member, and in fact, he's running for his life as the side Q gonna land onto no one. That's gonna be Peanut, taking so much damage, able to escape, though, as, you know, T1 don't kill anyone, but still maintain push. The mid and top inhibs are down. The base is in tatters, as this Nexus turret is going to fall. The grand entrance forward comes from the Rakan, but he is going to die to the Scion. It's a trade of kills as a 1-for-1 comes through so far, as Zeus is able to kill that one off. But Zeus is next to fall if he isn't just gobbled up to safety. And he stays alive. The needlework not going to pick him off. And in fact, it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. But the base was what was put in tatters by T1.
GenG an opportunity to the lane. Dragon Soul coming through for T1 and it's a 7 elemental game.
Yeah, this could actually be like super good for GenG, and he's buying a bit of time now. I still think T1 definitely in the driver's seat here. You can see that
17 seconds until Drake is on the table.
getting this opportunity for GenG.
Certainly should see a fight here by either side, because if T1 gets it, they have Mountain Soul. They become way too bulky with that Scion, and there's no way to really deal with it. As for GenG, they just need to deny it. They'll be on Soul Point if they're able to. But right now, GenG is slowly making their way into the river. Doran's isolated, though. He's just been taken out. Tibbers dropped on his head. That's going to be the whirly bird knocking out Chovy from the pit as Peanut's clone gets taken out. Drake down below 1,000 health, and it is smited away by T1, and they're going to kill off the Wukong on top of that. Mountain Soul secured. Jinx looking to open up. Ona chasing down targets, flashing out, is going to be Pays, but T1, they don't care about the bot lane of GenG. They actually do. Ona, he's here. He's denying the back as the rest of T1 running it down mid. Deny the TPs as Tibbers going to walk forward looking. They are going to deny the bases of the bot lane of GenG. And the Nexus is in the sights of T1. Just destroying it. As the base of GenG falls, T1 win game 1. There's the first game in the books. Let's be honest, who expected that? Now, what I will say is, this third game, as we actually have all 5, oh boy. Let's look at the third game. The last team fight from this game is where we're going to be heading to. Because, let's be honest, nothing else matters. Just so I know, I want to know what time is on the clock. That just gave you a spoiler to the other series if you're not watching it. I'm sorry. Game 3. ends up being a GenG win that I don't think many people expected, shall we say. Because this goal graph at 30 minutes in just flips on its head. And so we're going to go to 30 minutes on the clock. I need to add another 9 minutes. 28 to 36 will be pretty close. Here we go. I need to go do something real quick, so I will be back in a couple of seconds. Hopefully, get a good fight. It's time. Oh god. I am so not ready for game number 3's fight. So, get my headphones back on, get my head into this one as I knock a load of stuff over. Good job. Anyway, let's discuss this monstrosity of a fight. So, essentially, GenG are on Baron. Shurelius gets used by Carrier, who's isolated, because he knows that Doran's going to jump on him. Meganog gets thrown out. Hook goes wide. There's the equalizer. Then GenG is zoning T1 away from this objective. They're doing a very good job in that regard. But they secure the Baron. Owner's flashing out to safety. How do GenG get out of this? Simply put, they're forced to turn. It's a great play by Peanut to get on top of Gumayusi. And it's just a great response with the stopwatch. While Grove also used is a bit of a wasted tool at this time. But like you get the Naro for basically free. Now GenG are in a situation where they're turning but aren't getting anything. So Gumayusi gets put in a bounce house and killed. That's the main damage for T1 off the rift. Now Jinx is getting excited, ending Kha'Zix. Tibbers, well, Faker gets a kill, but he dead as well. It's honestly well played by GenG, but it does feel in some regards, as I forgot to take this off, feels like a waste of spells from T1. Like, Felios was an able to ult. Maybe if the Wild Growth came out later, it would have helped and got the ult out from Gumayusi. Because what guns did he have going into that fight? He had... So he had Infernum. He had pretty bad guns, let's be honest. Blue, purple is bad around the Baron. Blue's fine, because you want to try and catch him in the pit. But, like, purple is a... Yikes, honestly. You prefer white gun. White-red is also a really good combo. But Guma does get absolutely deleted. And the rest of T1 aren't really there to protect the bot lane. And Owner. And everyone. GenG just get everything off that fight. And GenG can just push to win. Now, we'll go back here to this. So, T1 have just aced out GenG, because this is how the game kind of flips to GenG being on the Baron. Zeus, for some reason, thinks it's smart to walk through the turrets. Like, he's clearing the wave. He doesn't kill him. And so, he's tanking turret aggro because of it. And he's just taken really low. And while Chovy, you think's an easy kill here, uses a scrap shield. I just want you guys to watch Chovy's items. Here. This spot. Right here. Okay. Boom. literally barely touching the fountain, he buys a stopwatch. And while he gets hit up, as soon as he comes down, stopwatch gets used. Like, it's clutch. Owner is tanking turret that, you know, has kind of ramped up due to Zeus walking through it. Boop. Goodbye, Owner. Executed off. Scrap shield comes back on cooldown, off cooldown for Chovy. He overheats, meaning he does so much more damage. He's just healing up on the fountain. The base isn't gonna die. And as soon as Zeus dies, you've got no jungler on T1 side. You've got a lot of wasted time from GenG here. But not Jeremy, from T1. They misplayed this. If they focused the minions, they would have been able to defend. I mean, yeah, Chovy probably would have equalized. But this just feels like you've thrown the game off of this one play. So yeah, that's game 3. I think we need to move into game number 5. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually excited for this. I'm also going to look at something really quick. Okay, so game 5 is where we're heading. There we go. I'm excited for this one. As we'll go into draft for our 5th game. We saw basically T1 getting unlucky in game 3 or misplay. GenG won absolutely dominantly in game 4. Now, pick ban for this game. Gets some spice. Is Vi, Wukong, Maokai removed by T1. The Breezer front lines removed yet again. T1 are on blue side this time. As for GenG, not allowing Tibbers for Faker. I always refer to Annie as Tibbers, let's be honest. Nautilus also removed, and that flex isn't there anymore. But another flex that T1 have showcased in this tournament is this Cassante. You have to admit, this is a pretty big pick for T1. The ability for it to go into either Faker or Zeus' hands just is so huge. Is the amount of damage that they can put out with that champion means so much. Now, what I will also say is the response from GenG is to secure a strong bot lane. Aphelios is a big pick for them. GenG, I'd be surprised if that gets locked in. Instead, it's going to be the Poppy, his pick he's more known for than the early game jungling champs. He's very good at this pick, and with a Cassante on the other side of Rift, you have to imagine it'd be a very strong pick for him. As for T1, gonna lock in the Xayah and the Rakan. Just get a solid bot lane and be able to deal with the bans, because GenG's bans here are very hard to throw down because you're probably gonna have to split them between jungle, or you just focus the jungle pool entirely. That would be smart. What's more, they could also ban out a Lissandra here if you're GenG. Not have to worry about Faker's Lissandra. But who knows? Second round of bans coming out from GenG, Lissandra, as I say. What else will be removed from the field? T1 gonna remove Thresh. Makes sense. Just get rid of the safety. Aphelios, TK, good option with him. Lulu as well. But GenG splitting the band between mid and jungle makes sense. And there you go, Lulu removed off the field as well. Response here, I mean, you could go for your support for GenG and secure a counter pick, at least in either mid or top. I think you have to lock in like the Tom Kench here. Or the Alistar. I forgot he's a pick. But yep, makes sense as a whole. As T1 got to lock in the rest of their draft and reveal where the Cassante is going. Rumble is open. A pick that we saw played by GenG in the previous games. It would make sense to have some AP into this comp. And it's an interesting pick. Because Rumble is flex between many places. And so, T1, how are you going to finish out your draft? Gragas. This is an interesting comp from T1. You've got a triple flex topside, where all mids and top can take the jungle pick. But Zyra Khan, definitely bot. As for GenG, this is hard for you to pick your top laner. So you go for the Gwen. I mean, not something I expected, to say the least, because GenG, or Doran in particular, hasn't found that much success on the pick. I wasn't a big fan of it in that previous game we just watched. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see how the rest of basically the picks end up. Rumble, jungle, Gragas, top, mid, lane, Cassante. That's going to be the lock-in. I'm really looking forward to this one because, you know, these two teams, very strong. GenG have turned it up in the past 2 games to get us to a 5th game. Now, I'm ready.
We'll have to find out as we hop onto the rift here for game number 5, our first of MSI 2023, and it's between GenG and T1, the rematch of the LCK Spring 2023 Grand Final. Oh man, see who's going to be able to stay alive in this upper bracket.
Here we go. On to the rift we go for game 5. Cool start to Felios. Stand start. Will we see Doran go for that cull like we did in game number 1? But Zaya not going for the cull means she's going to be falling behind in terms of the tempo that your Felios can put down. But this is the first Alistar I've seen in a long time. Glacial Augment seems relatively normal for an engaged support. Dark Harvest on the Rumble. He wants to burn through the health bars this game. I don't remember what we saw in game 3. In fact, I will look that up for you guys right now. But this comp from T1 is, it seems like they've gone for the standardized thing of 2 bruisers and carry, bot, and jungle. It seems that they're finding success with this aspect of their comp. And it's a set stylized draft that a lot of teams aren't really finding in this tournament. Is a good solid base for their drafts. Now, I'm gonna look at the ruined for game number 3, by the way. Because it has been a really long time since we've seen the Rumble in the jungle, and T1 So Rumble took Comet. Chovy took Comet, I should say. Which is obviously a bit more harassive during lane. But Dark Harvest is very impactful the more owner is involved with his lanes. And you have to think, with the comp that GenG have, owner will try to get in. He's probably going to camp out the bot lane and try to just keep Aphelios down. Because the comp that GenG have, if you are able to shut down the Aphelios, there's not really that much AD damage that can come out from them. So if owner takes time, invests himself into that bot lane, GenG will have a hard time dealing with this T1 squad, because I dare say the bruisers, the front line, will buy some magic resist. Like a lot of magic resist, because they're dealing with their opposition laners who are at full AP. Now, surprisingly, we haven't seen the cool buy here. Well, it's not surprising. We haven't seen the Doran cool buy on Gwen early. He is going to pick up a Doran's ring. Just getting all the Doran's items. Next we'll see a Doran's blade on the next back. Why not? Just toss it into his pool of items. But 50 seconds until the first Drake of the game. I'm expecting some early movement from either teams towards it. As bot side, Alistar's going in, forced to flash the grand entrance. Now Xayah just gets to free farm the wave. With Alistar only having Hex Flash, there's no real threat of an engage on that GenG bot lane. So, taking stock of the first backs, 3 swords and a dagger in the inventory of the Xayah. She is going to be able to do a little bit more damage. Obviously, Aphelios is pushing in that bot wave to try and secure himself a free back. Great W out from Faker to not get charmed in. But Faker, obviously, taken very low off that. Going to probably have to TP back into lane. All out, though, has been ascertained. Maybe we see a gank set up soon. There's Doran just demolishing through the health bar of the Gwen. She is not going to be able to do realistically much, as here comes the Rumble. Just making his presence known. Obviously knows there's a ward there. And so T1 just forcing Gwen back to base, allowing Gragas to get a nice crash of the minions into the wave. He'll secure himself, go back. TP forced out top. And so T1 are starting to get a bit of an early lead for themselves in terms of how each place is set up. But that was a weird play. Peanut clearly not going to go for a play down there. And T1 clearly are going to try to secure the scuttle. Xante going in aggressive. Looking to try and land a Q3, but the charm comes through. Pulls Faker on the tower. Just going to be dissuaded away from that. So Rumble hovering around bot. And T1, honestly right now, are content with this. they're not pushing an advantage to force waves into towers, but they're also just farming pretty calmly. Surprisingly, a Cassante has a gold lead over an Ari, and as such, with the wave being pushed in mid and bot, T1 rotates straight to Drake, 7 minutes on the clock, so it's going to be 22-minute soul if T1 are able to secure every single one of them. Oh, the sound of greatness. As Cloud Drake is the second Drake, we're going to get an impactful soul this game. And I really can't wait for that.
Stop that back there as the Gravitum is going to stun up for the moment. Too much action as this game goes on. T1 picking up about a 200.
Herald started by GenG. Peanut going to be able to secure that. As Owner is not looking down that bot lane as a grand entrance comes through. Featherstorm thrown out. A lot of damage dropped down as the equalizer gets thrown out. And Delight becomes a roast cow. The beef has been skewed. Now, T1 secure a favorable bot side of the map for themselves. First blood went over to Owner, which is great for getting that damage carry. A lot more damage, that's for sure. Now, the interesting thing to note is the first back, because that's Poppy going forward. Overheated is going to be the Rumble, and that's an easy trade back for Peanut.
Want to highlight as well that with how this early game is going, the team able to get a huge lead. I also think that how GenG is going to use the is going to be really important because if they can use that after maybe a kill.
Excuse me. I'm surprised about what just happened there after the pick off onto Owner. Obviously, it's a big pick off. And gold into the back pockets of your jungler is a great thing. But Faker, Everfrosted, able to go all out over the wall. He's taking Poppy into the death. In fact, the shield comes through. But what was that? I mean, he flashes the wall. But wow. What an outplay. Anyway, I'm digressing a little, but essentially T1 somehow, some way still have a gold lead that's going to get crushed here as plates go over to the Gwen. Looks like GenG are trying to invest heavily into Doran. Obviously into a bruiser matchup topside. Granted, it's an AP Gragas. Probably going to buy Everfrost. But you realize the facts that GenG are making some plays on this map to keep the hopes of winning this game alive. Excuse me. So with Drake up in 30 seconds, Unless Zeus gets killed here, or Doran, I don't expect a contest from GenG on this Drake. I think with how T1 are right now, the fact that they have these big combos ready and available, as Carrie's just going to walk away. Faker's back gets cancelled. This top side, Doran's really low.
If that's game one, they're both throwing their ultimates, and they're going for the all-in. Like we're throwing everything, but now
Is it double space groove top laners?
surprised if we're going to see some pretty heavy aggression towards this dragon here.
I think that's the big one, is having those up and available for the dragon fight is going to be so crucial.
Q3 not going to land for Faker there. Charm E also going to miss. First items coming through for laners. What's also important there is Zeus did not take his back. Only just going to take it. Buys the Everfrost.
Without Peanut there, though, it looks like GenG's like, hey,
And now T1 go for the Drake. Fairly easy for them, as no contest could really come through from GenG here. Jungle is only just leaving base, so pretty clean T1 early game, as they're just not giving over anything to GenG. Ocean Soul. Here's the prize for either team if they're able to stack the 4 Drakes, obviously. T1 ever so close to that themselves, on to 10 minutes away from that if they want it. But that goal graph really tells you how this game is. It's been T1 bot lane getting a bit dominant, and the rest of the map, I'd say, being fairly even. But it's surprising. Topside has that much of a lead in some regards, but that top lane tier 1 for GenG did, well, they did drop a Herald into T1's, but TP's come through from GenG. Faker standing in front of him. That's also the Q3 pulling back Peanut into the equalizer as re-engage comes through. GenG forcing to flash in the bot side as Pays is getting pushed further and further back, but Chovy secures the only kill of this fight as Carrier falls. So basically a 1-for-1 trade there as Harold for Carrier's life comes through. As a whole, that was a very scrappy fight. As we watch it again, it's just this massive Q3 onto Peanut, forces him away, which allows the objective to go over to T1. But Flash gets used by Pays. He's taken out to fight with the cask. But on the other side, Chovy just is targeting out Carrier, using his dashes effectively. But Doran, Everfrosted, burning, gone. This is an open top lane. Obviously, Summoner's removed across all of GenG, except for Delight. He has his somehow. Also, Chovy has a flash. But Grand Entrance onto Delight. Not gonna lose his life. Instead, bot side, Faker is caught going all out, taking Peanut over the wall, just dashing away. He's somehow getting over the wall. Charm gonna land, but he falls. Chovy gets the kill onto his opponent, opposing mid laner. T1 continue to make plays. They're gonna crash the Herald into middle lane tier 1. Gale Force used by Pays, but tier 2 takes a lot of damage. That's also gonna be Rumble launched out of the fight as a flash from Gumayushi means he stays alive. T1, while Faker loses his life bot side, he buys time for the play in mid, and it ends up being very favorable for T1.
Even though they do end up getting him, look at how much time he wastes, right? And not just time, Chovy is forced to invest his flash just to make sure that they actually get the kill, and because of all the ultimates, all the time, all the cooldowns invested, T1 then gets the mid lane play. We do see
Faker is such a
if they could have actually started the fight, would have been amazing, but they only get Duma's flash.
big figure in terms of league, isn't he? The fact that he's been playing,
Gold still.
and this year is his, what, 10-year celebration? The fact that he's been doing so well for so long on the international stage and the same org really is surprising. Now, right now, this gold graph is in favor of T1. It has been like this for the majority of the game, but it's very close. GenG aren't that far behind. In fact, it's only 100 gold lead, and so, relatively speaking, it's an even game. As my dogs are just going off. Oh boy, really love it when they bark, because that usually means that someone's home. Anyway, regardless of that, T1, the way that they're playing this game is very slow, and excuse me while I go deal with my dog.
Early to mid game has been T1 3.
And we're back. Let's get it. So, Drake has been a priority, I feel, throughout the entire series for T1. They've just been getting early objective control and then trying to balloon that advantage throughout the rest of the games. This game, they're on to Ocean Soul Point very, very quickly. And it's very hard for GenG to kind of react, as Owners just solos that one out, and the response from GenG is to make a push in mid lane, try and get that wave pushed out. Featherstorm for Ariel is a trade that we're seeing just to pay for it, though. And it's not that much, because TP was also burnt by Chovy to get to mid. GenG are kind of behind the tempo of this game, as 6 seconds on Baron at the point. You know, T1 with a team known for roaming from objective to objective, and we could honestly see them go for it here, as Faker puts a bit of damage down onto the top lane tier 1, backs away to safety though, and just taking stock of items, because everyone now has a mythic except for Delight. Shirelia's for the Rakan, looking to speed up his team to get in. You've also got
Is the gold lead going to be over 1,000? 26 minutes for Dagger.
anything else in particular that's impressive or important to note. I mean, it's Night Harvester Rumble means a lot of burst potential out from that champion, able to run you down quite quickly, and so very, very important to note that. On the other side of things, Gragas in the top lane, Everfrost into Oblivion Orb second. Not something you see too often. In fact, Oblivion Orb isn't one of them big things you buy early. And I get why, because you're playing into a Gwen and a Felios, so you go for it that regard. Technically even a Poppy. But yeah, you buy it just so you can deal with your lane opponent here as Peanut not going to deny the back. So 2 minutes away from pretty much the next fight. You have to feel it will be the next big contested place. Because if T1 get that, then they will be ocean sold up for the next God knows how long this game will go. That's a huge thing you have to consider here if you're GenG. Actually, for T1, the big thing they've got right now is the ability to kind of sacrifice 2-3 Drakes and get other objectives or contest other objectives like the Baron. They're doing very well here with getting objective pushes. The gold is even. Now Faker steps into the Drake. Gonna try to Drake the Baron pit. Try to clear out the vision. Is gonna be unable to. But what he is able to do is just get for his team vision control. So essentially, this part of the game is where we just sit back, relax, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool, and, you know, shooting some people after side of the school. Because there's been no real big action taken by either team here. And here we go. Vision around Baron has been completely negated for GenG. They're going to probably drop a ward in the back pick, which they have. But that's not what these two teams will be fighting over next. 30 seconds until Ocean Soul is available to T1. The big prize that they clearly will want. Right now, GenG have vision control in the area. They're advancing their vision with Chovy, who is very fed. T1 stepping through into the river. Drake has spawned. Shrellies is used by T1, but they're running the completely other way towards the Baron pit. They're just gonna trade the objective. GenG pulled straight off the Drake. Faker, the equalizer comes across, but GenG get T1 off of this Baron. And now you have to feel T1 will try to contest this Drake. Stepping into the river as the Alistar gets a catch out onto Gumushi, but he is not going to be killed off. Instead, it's going to be the Rumble picking up a double kill. Aphelios dragged off, sliced apart by Cassante as he is shut down. And T1 take out 4 members of GenG. And they're looking to push for the base. They haven't got Baron. They haven't got the Ocean Soul, but they could go get it if they want to. Instead, they see the base of GenG in their sights. They're opening up the mid lane tier 1. The inhib gonna fall. The base, the turrets in their eyes. Shirelli is to bring the minions forward. Alistar is down. The Nexus turrets are falling, and T1 aren't making the same mistake again. They are crushing this Nexus and winning Game 5. What a game to kick off basically the regional clashes. T1 beating GenG in a best of 5. That was such a big, quick game. And you know what? We can immediately walk our way into G2 Mad as our second series of the day. Oh boy. I can't handle 5 games of this. So, I will get into this in a new stream. I'll see you guys in a couple of seconds.